This is RadioFire.com. Yours truly, Diamond K, in here. Thank you for joining me. Broadcasting from the Radio on Fire studios here in Baltimore, Maryland. On the heels of a very successful march, not only in Washington, D.C., but around the country, I had a chance to view a piece of NRA propaganda that featured Killer Mike, a rapper who I respect, a rapper who I've enjoyed his music, his appearances on multiple songs. A member, one half of Run the Jewels, and I enjoy their music as well. But where I disagree wholeheartedly with Killer Mike, for one, even participating in a piece of NRA, the National Rifle Association propaganda. So many issues that I have. What I want to talk about is gun control. I want to talk about gun control and first address the misconception that many supporters of the NRA and the such advocates for just anybody having a gun. The issue that they have, why they say there should be no gun control, they feel that any type of amendment, any type of change, any type of update to who should have a gun, they have a problem with that. And I just, it befuddles me as to why. Why don't you think that you should have gun control? Why do you think that anybody should be allowed to have a gun? Anybody. Just because you're alive, some people think you should just have a gun. And many intelligent people are unable to make a difference in saying just because you want gun control does not mean that you're trying to take somebody's gun per se, unless you are unfit to have said gun. Now that's something different, okay? That's something different. No one's trying to infringe on your constitutional right to bear arms. No one wants to take your gun per se. We're not saying there should be no guns on the street. At least I'm not saying that. But gun control does not mean you can't have your gun. I'm just saying that there are some people who have been legally allowed to have guns that should not have them. That's all I'm saying. That's all. A very interesting article that I read by Giovanna, she said this: cars actually have more regulations than guns, and these regulations take major steps in preventing deadly situations. For example, states like Florida and Nevada don't require a permit to purchase long guns or handguns, but a permit is required to drive. It seems like purchasing and using a rifle is much easier than purchasing and using a car, which is unsettling. To keep guns legal, they must be regulated at least as much as cars. I agree with that. I agree with that statement. I think that anybody who wants a gun and can prove that they have the mental capacity to have this gun and the temperament to own this gun should have it. That's all. I mean, it's, to me, I don't think that that's like a no nonsense thing. That to me makes sense. But for me to watch Killer Mike talk about why are you supporting people who are against guns, they don't support you on other issues in the community, and the host was talking about they're talking about safety in the schools, and the school system is deplorable and it's horrible. So how could you, be marching? And he was making fun of the marches and all that kind of stuff. And I was shaking my head. I couldn't believe it. And I watched it several times, and just to make sure I wasn't tripping. But when I see people who are clearly intelligent, Killer Mike's intelligent, the host is intelligent, but when I see people who are pawns of the NRA, just like many politicians, pawns of the NRA, up here, when you clearly know better, you clearly have reasoning and the mental capacity to think deeper. Than they're just spewing out their mouth. Like diarrhea, just spewing. You know what I mean? They're just spewing a whole bunch of stuff. And at the end of the day, like, what are you saying though? Are you saying that everything there's a one button fix for everything? And if one thing doesn't fix everything, you don't want to do anything. You have a car. I'm looking at my car outside. It's a Lexus, right? I'm looking at my car and I need to get my brakes changed, right? But there are other things that I can do with the car. Okay, I need to change my back tires. The radio, I want different speakers in there. My back seat has a little bit of a tear on it. I put my speakers in there in the back, and it tore the seat slightly. So if I fix my brakes, it's not going to fix the other issues that are wrong with my car, right? So using the mindset of Killer Mike, using the mindset of the host, using the mindset of many people who don't support gun control and feel that gun control is not going to stop all crime, so therefore they shouldn't make the change. Me using your logic would say, don't change my brakes because it's not going to fix the other issues. It will fix the brake issue. Now, the issue for my seat in the back, the back seat cushion, that's a separate issue, and separate separate things have to be done to correct that problem. Now, I don't understand why they don't see that several of the mass shootings that have happened in this great country happened at the hands of people who legally purchased guns who were not mentally stable, who legally should not have had a gun. Does that mean that they could not have obtained that gun illegally? No, they probably could have still done that. But we need to try to not make it as easy as it is now. There should be universal checks. We should have some type of regulation to prevent as much as possible. Will it be 100%? No, it will not be 100%. But we need to try to do that. And Killer Mike gave a story about his daughter who is in college and she has a gun and he wants to get her more training after gun deaths on the campus. And I understand that. All I'm saying is that in the mind of these NRA sheep, they feel that everybody should have a gun, and the sole solution is more training and shooting people down. I'm just saying some people are not mentally stable and they should not have legally given the authority and license to have a gun. Just like legally, some people should not operate a motor vehicle. At a certain age, you should not be allowed to operate a motor vehicle because you're alert. You're not as alert as you used to be. Your hand-eye coordination is not as good as it used to be. And I think we can all agree on that. I think that we can all agree that there should be speed control around certain areas, highways, byways, streets. You don't want people just driving at a highly, high speed. You don't want that because it is not safe. Does that mean that nobody should drive? No. Does that mean you're trying to take away race car drivers' cars? No. Does that mean that you're trying to stop people from driving? No. It just means that there should be some regulation there for safety purposes. Birth control. Birth control is the act of preventing unwanted pregnancies. Methods include medications, procedures, devices, and behaviors. Gun control can help prevent unwanted death. A gun is a weapon to kill. And there's no reason that we should not have the highest regulations for this weapon. Now, you should have the right to bear arms, and we do have the right to bear arms. But it comes with conditions. Just like we have freedom of speech, but that comes with conditions. You can't yell fire in a crowded room. You can't say certain things. And the same rule should apply to gun control, border control, right? Are measures taken by a country to monitor or regulate its borders. Border controls are put into place to control the movement of people, animals, and goods in and out of a country. We agree that there should be border control. Damage control is an action taken to limit the damaging effects of an accident or an error. Control. It's not going to eliminate all errors, but it's going to help mediate some accidents. And I'm just trying to say that in order for us to help minimize some of these shootings at the hands of people who are mentally unstable, we need to regulate the guns better. That's all. That's not going to stop people shooting somebody dead in the street in Chicago or here in Baltimore or any criminal activity. That's a separate discussion. That's a separate issue. That's like me, the speakers in my back seat. Like that's separate from the brakes. There's a different set of goals, and it's different methods to reach those goals. Gun rights advocates rarely see anyone that they feel should not be allowed to legally obtain a gun. They don't see anybody. Like, it's just, I understand it's a lifestyle and that's fine, but it is a privilege and a right. However, you can disqualify yourself from this if you are not mentally there. And for me to hear Killer Mike talk about it, not, to be as intelligent as he is, not to see through the fact that regulating the gun ownership is a plus. It's not taken away. He wouldn't be affected by that. He's completely mentally stable. His daughter, mentally stable. His other kids, mentally stable. This doesn't affect you. This is for people who don't have it all or not responsible enough to have this gun. Now, this warped mindset is especially troubling in this era of mass shootings. Trying to better screen potentially irresponsible gun owners should be something that NRA enthusiasts, Killer Mike, and others take pride in. However, you're just currently fine with turning a blind eye to this epidemic, making fun of children who are trying to raise awareness for this gun control. The NRA should be spearheading the charge about better regulation. But no, they are complacent with things the way they are. Complicit to this irresponsible mindset. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at The Don McKay Show, at Radio on Fire. I'd love to have further discussion about this with Killer Mike at The Don McKay Show, at Radio on Fire. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. live from the Radio on Fire studios here in Baltimore, Maryland. See you guys tomorrow.